Hello and welcome to Stupid for Fantasy Football. I am Adam. This is Claire, Jabber, and JJ. We're going to be bringing you all of the late-breaking news from this week. It's been a big week. First, follow us on Twitter at Stupid4, the number 4, football. Stupid4 football on Twitter. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Blip, iTunes, you name it. Also, go to Ustream/StreaminGarage. No G at the end of streamin', just stream in. And check out our other shows.
We're
Stupid
everywhere.
for Movies. Yeah.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. And so are our other shows. Yeah.
A little bit of JJ in your refrigerator right now.
Which is a little disgusting.
A little disgusting.
Still fresh.
Not moldy, still fresh.
Still fresh.
JJ May is always fresh.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, no expiration date
Right,
on JJ.
exactly.
Nope.
So we're going to go into our first segment here. It's time for us to talk about the players that let us down on our teams this week. And it's time for Who Screwed Me. It's so light and airy, that little title card.
Lovely.
You gotta calm down. You gotta calm down going
it's
into
nice
segments.
it's nice, you know.
I still
Explode.
don't get that.
I don't either.
I think what it is you're about to get really upset. So Corey wants us to calm down before we get to it.
we should put some like Yanni music over it. Kind of
Sure.
like, you know, really.
Sure, or that like rainfall.
In
Yeah.
the
Ooh,
studio,
yeah.
we have incense
Rainfall.
going.
I'm going to kick it off with
Vincent.
Michael Vick. I love him. He's been great all year, but I started him. He got me 4 points.
Do you really love him?
I do.
Quick side question. Do
Yeah.
you really love the dog Bader?
I have a
Do you
whole
love him as a
different take
fantasy
on that.
player or just
I love him as a fantasy player, and I think there's another side to that story. I do think the guy did
The
wrong.
dog side?
But I
whose
think
side?
I think he
Adam
went to
hates
jail. I love dogs. I actually own a Staffordshire
And
Bull
old
Terrier.
people.
Oh, you
Hi,
hear that?
Newton.
He
Hi, Newton.
owns the dog.
I do.
I mean,
It's
that's
my
just
dog.
terrible.
Yeah.
Not even his companion. He owns the dog.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
Back to
what we're
Dogs
doing
are great.
here.
I think everybody should own one.
Michael Vick let me down last week. I lost by 3/10 of a point. No, I won by 3/10 of a point. Oh, that's good news.
Well, congratulations.
But it was a little too tight.
Moving on.
It was a little close. Thank God I had Aaron Hernandez on Monday night.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yeah, thank
yeah.
God. Claire, who
Man.
screwed you?
No one screwed me this week.
According to Corey, by the way, let me just
wishful
break-
thinking.
According to Corey in the chat room, who makes these graphics, it's a propeller, stupid.
Yeah.
Which has a lot to do with football.
Propeller is a type of screw. Who screwed me?
Oh, wow. Reach.
Way too smart for that.
Moving on. Sorry, Claire. Go ahead.
No, nobody screwed me. I would like to take special thanks to the Jets who put me over the edge with LT and Keller. So yeah,
Keller's the real deal. I thought he was just
that's
going to
why
be
I
a
got my
one or
new
two.
tattoo.
There we go.
Oh,
Guys.
Claire's
There
new
we go.
tattoo.
My new tattoo.
Claire's new tattoo.
So
Her all Jets team.
and
That-
yeah,
that's
it's gonna get
That's
even
actually
better.
her head.
It's gonna get even
It's a little
better
weird.
with
Back with skull.
Santonio Holmes, who I plan to start this week. So.
Now we're talking.
He's coming back.
Are
We'll
you
cover
just
that
going to
later.
start the entire Jets team?
Maybe, yeah. All Jets all
All
the
right,
time.
well, let's not talk about who's going to screw you next week, Clara. Let's talk about who's going to screw you. Because I have a Santonio Holmes death wish as well. But for me, let's see. I don't know. JJ? I mean, once again, there's a laundry list of people who screwed me.
Hey,
Here's the people who
talk
screwed
about
me
who
last
didn't
week.
screw you.
Who didn't screw me? No, I would say the only people, the guy who screwed me last week, Liddell Betch, he kind of screwed me. Because I thought you were going to be the man. You weren't really the man. This young punk was running really hard and well, and he looked good, Chris Ivory, and so you screwed me. And who else? Brandon Jackson. All I wanted was a few yards, Brandon. You just couldn't really provide that.
Drop him!
So
Drop
I'm
him!
dropping Brandon Jackson because I've got a whole revamped team now. I mean, wait till you hear what I got going this week. Because I got Santonio.
I'll let Claire Coffee. You have a whole.
I'll Claire Coffee, although I didn't drop Wes Welker.
I picked him back up this
But
week.
I did.
How do you pick Wes Welker back up?
I didn't even pick up anybody in this league.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. In fact, I think Claire's league, they're going to redraft after week 8. They're just going to have a whole, everybody gets tossed back in. But I got Harvin now, and we'll talk more about that later. Santonio Holmes coming back. Hopefully they won't screw me next week, JJ.
Yeah. I don't know. Nobody on my team played well.
You lost.
I got kind of slaughtered.
Is that
Brandon,
one of your logos?
yeah,
The
yeah.
guy with the headphones?
It's my logo is down Rumsfeld.
Is that Rumsfeld? I love it.
There are known knowns. There are known unknowns. There are unknown unknowns. My team, I don't know. Let's pick a guy. How about let's go with Ocho Cinco.
Yeah,
doing
he kind of
nothing.
disappeared on you,
Ooh.
didn't he?
Yeah.
3 catches, 59 yards.
But
Awful.
let's also talk about who screwed me was the Chargers defense with 9 sacks, and
Yeah.
guess who played them?
The guy played against you. Huh?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
played them. Nobody did basically anything.
You know, JJ, I'm going to have a recommendation for you. I think you should stop making it a prerequisite to have somebody on a small bike in a picture to be on your team. I really do.
Yeah, big
Yeah,
guy on the
there he is.
side.
There
You
it
know
is.
what? Would have played better than most of my players this week.
Yeah, which is not
I
good.
feel like nobody should be wearing Amon Green's number in Green Bay.
I agree. I love Mon Green.
Right?
He's a great
I mean,
running
he
back.
was kind of like
Yeah.
he was so the guy there
Yeah.
for so long.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll
All
tell you
right.
this though, it's like Rumsfeld says, JJ. You know, we are where we are.
Yeah. Well, listen, we don't always get it right on our teams, but we've gotten a lot of things right in our next segment where we tell you
Oh,
who's
yeah.
going to be the next big pickups. Actually, we're going to brag about the pickups we've already told you about. These are the guys we've gotten right for you. So let's go back into We Told You So. What is this one? It's good. Corey, you're letting us down. I'm
I
expecting
feel like
a
that
different graphic
violence is
every
a
week.
lot after our fluffy cloud propeller.
It really is a
It really
big
kicks it up.
swing.
Contrast.
It's like we need anger management. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'll kick off the first one because I love saying this guy's name.
Do it.
Aaron Hernandez.
Oh my God.
Here's why I'm bringing him back to We Told You So. Yes, I talk about him a lot, but Moss is leaving, and Hernandez has been getting a lot of deep passes. He's been getting the 20 and 25-yard passes. He's going to be part of what takes over for Moss. It's not just going to be Brandon Tate. So he's going to be even better now. I think this guy's going to finish top 5 tight end. You heard it here first. And that's all I got to say about that.
Interesting. Just so you know, folks, we were going to talk about this later, but next Tuesday night, here, right down the street, we're going to have a big block party. It's Aaron Hernandez bobblehead night.
Yeah, we're going to have a
Come
parade.
here, you can Aaron Hernandez bobblehead.
Yeah.
We're going to have pictures of Aaron Hernandez wrapped around some IPA.
You
some
can
lame
take a
IPA
picture of
beer.
Adam hugging a picture of Aaron
Right, you get a
Hernandez.
picture of Aaron.
That's gonna be a
Adam
collector's item one
hugging
day.
a picture of Aaron Hernandez.
Yes, definitely.
It's great.
All right, next guy we're going to talk about is another tight end, Brandon Pettigrew.
Who not only, actually is the only guy who performed well on my team last week.
And he's
picked
been
him
good all
up.
year.
He's been great. I think he's, we told you about him. He continues to get targets. Sean Hill seems to love this guy. He's a rookie. He's still got some upside, hopefully.
He's a second-year guy, but this is his
second year?
first.
Second
This is
year.
his first year. He's really
Yeah,
starting
last
a lot.
year-
Yeah.
But he
emotionally,
looks good.
he behaves
Emotionally,
like a rookie.
Yes.
Yeah, he's still very young.
Exactly.
And in the larger picture, that's a good thing to think about in fantasy football. If you got a backup quarterback going in, they're going to go to their tight end or their running back a lot. That always happens with backups. It's an easier pass to make. If they're feeling rushed, those are their dump-offs. Brandon Pettigrew should be good as long as Sean Hill's in there, and Stafford likes him too. So
Yeah.
I think he's a good play, especially this week. We'll talk about him later, though. And then number 3, big news this week. We're going to cover it more in news, but we told you last week. Now, I admit it, that he was going to the Packers. I don't know what the Packers are doing. I don't know why they don't want a running back. But he went to Seattle, and now Marshawn Lynch is the number 1 running back on a team with a good offensive line that is putting together some good scoring drives. He's going to be immediately startable. Look at that. He also works for Geico as a salesman.
He's also, let's face it, not very attractive, which is why he's in Seattle.
But I actually think that, yeah.
Where they just don't
seriously,
care.
It's cloudy all the time. You can
I've
dress
lived
a
there for
lot.
a few years. I can say that. I've got some.
I don't think I think he makes himself that way, though. Have you seen the grills he's always got?
Sure.
He always
It's
looks all
intimidating.
thugged out, which is
Yeah.
funny to me for a guy who's making $5 million a year playing football. Really? You're a thug?
Right.
Not really.
There he
Come on.
is.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that is not rat tattoo he stuck in his teeth. Those are his actual
Yeah.
teeth.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark's going to do that next week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, I tried it.
But it will be rat tattoo.
in '95, but it will be rat tattoo.
He's going to do it for Hanukkah this year with candles and just light them once every night.
Big Hanukkah for me this year.
Yeah, and so I get to eat it on my Justin Forsett recommendation. So.
Yeah, we'll go more into that in our
And
next.
I get to eat it on my fantasy team where I have Justin.
Of course you do.
Of course I do.
He's been seen on a lot of small bicycles. All right, that brings us to our next segment. Big news this week in fantasy football news. Take it away, Mark.
Well, big news this week. The biggest news story, obviously. I was awoken by Colin Cowherd on my alarm clock to find out that Randy Moss had been traded to the Minnesota Vikings. Do we have any sound effects explosions here? No?
No.
Okay, so big news! Big news! Lots of fantasy implications for Randy Moss going to the Vikings. JJ, what's the biggest one?
Well, I would just like to celebrate this decision as a Vikings fan, first of all.
That's right! Oh my God! JJ!
And as a Randy Moss owner in one of my leagues, second of all. But yeah, this is, and I was actually driving home from work at 4 a.m. when the news broke. And it was rather, woke me up on the way home. But I think the big implication for Randy Moss is he pretty much has not been used in New England this year.
No.
They haven't targeted him. They haven't thrown the ball. He's caught some touchdowns because he's just such a great red zone target. But in Minnesota, he's going to get targeted. His receptions are going to go way up. He can still play ball.
Well, Brett Favre's coveted him forever.
Yeah,
he wanted
Brett
him when he's
Favre's
back in Green Bay.
Yeah, Brett Favre was horribly upset with the Green Bay management when he got traded to the Raiders. And I think this is a great move for Minnesota. I think it opens up for Percy Harvin. I think it opens up for the entire offense. You can't stack the box against the run as much anymore. The big question, Favre, as we were talking earlier, looks a little his touch's a little off, but he's been getting hammered because the right side of the line is terrible. So I think maybe this opens Favre back up too.
I think it does. I mean, I understand the concern about Favre's accuracy not being as good or whatever. But here's a player where, I mean, look, Randall Cunningham wasn't considered the most accurate quarterback.
No.
But all he had to do was just chuck that thing really high and really far, and Randy Moss will go off and get it.
Yeah,
he can still do that. He's a
Randy
great
Moss
deep
has
threat.
like fly paper hands. Like that catch he made last week, it doesn't even, the ball hits his hand and stops moving. It just sticks. If I did that, it would bounce off my hand. I mean, it just, bam, done, touchdown.
Yeah,
And
Randy
he's
Moss
been like
has
that his whole
hands
career.
like mine.
Yeah, that's a big hand.
Other implications here. What about a guy that I happen to own on my team, Percy Harvin? Adam, what are the implications?
You know,
for a guy like Percy
I
Harvin?
really think this is the best news for Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin's been seeing a lot of double teams this year. He's not going to see those anymore. Those are all going Randy Moss's way. Percy Harvin's the style of player that complements a guy like like Moss, who's also a lot like Rice. I mean, they're very similar. They spread the field. They go deep. They can catch the deep ball. They got great hands. Moss is actually, future Hall of Famer. Rice, we don't know about
And Rice
yet.
was drafted to, as soon as they traded Moss, they made draft picks of, who can be the next Randy Moss on our team. And Rice was their second attempt.
I actually think this is really bad news for Rice, though. I think this is the Vikings. They might not be saying it out loud, but they're saying he's not coming back week 8. He might not be back this year at all, but it's going to be a little while longer, because otherwise you don't need a Moss. If he's coming back in 2 weeks, you just wait for that.
Well,
That's not
if
happening
you
now.
can get a Randy Moss for a 4th-round draft pick.
I think it was a
or
third, but
round.
still, it's a deal.
Marshawn Lynch was 4th. Third-round draft pick, you get a future Hall of Famer for a 3rd-round draft pick.
Yeah.
Right. Now, here's another thing. Now, Claire, I know that, like JJ, you like guys that are small and fast. What kind of implications does this have for, say, a Julian Edelman or Wes Welker on the Patriots? How do you assess that?
I think, I think for the Patriots, I think it doesn't really, I'm not going to say it doesn't affect them, but I think it opens things up for people like Wes Welker, Julian Edelman. I think they're going to see a little bit more action. I think it's good for them.
Yeah. And
Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, you should have read that totally wrong.
And Aaron Hernandez.
You should have said rookie loser. No, second, whatever.
I think, and Aaron Hernandez is probably going to, I think his numbers will go up for sure. But I was all set to talk about Farve, so.
Great. Well,
Really,
that's another thing. So what about Brett Favre?
Well, I think maybe he just needed a little rest, and I think the bye week will. I don't like Brett Favre.
Yeah,
but I'm
and he's
trying
been
to be
off
a
to a
little bit
bad
more
start,
positive.
so it's like,
yeah, and so I think maybe he just needed the bye week. I think they're going to come out super explosive this week. So I think in the short term, at least, this for the Vikings is going to be make a huge impact, and I think they're all going to get a lot better. At least for the
And to
next-
be fair, the reason she doesn't like Brett Favre is he is neither fast nor small.
Right.
But
But you know what a game to circle
Danny
is?
Woodhead.
Is
Right.
for
We have.
Moss is when he plays the Patriots.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
time Moss feels that someone has wronged him,
Oh, he's going to blow up.
he goes out and just destroys them.
Do the Vikings play the Patriots this
Yeah,
year?
in,
Yeah, they played them in like 3 or 4
Halloween.
weeks. Yeah.
Nice.
Halloween, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know,
they
and-
play the whole AFC.
Another interesting
That's
thing
why I got
about
the Jets
this,
on
and
Monday.
this is great news for Moss owners, Minnesota just had their bye. New England has it now. He has no
Right.
bye week this year.
Right.
You don't have to bench Randy Moss for the entire season.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
point. Great point.
So
Now, what about, Adam, talk about a couple of these guys, you mentioned them before, a guy like a Bernard Berrien, a guy like a Greg Camarillo. Are they still in the picture at all?
they're dead to me. They're completely, I mean, barring injury, they might get a catch here or there, but the pecking order there is now Moss, Harvin, Shanko about on the same level, Peterson, and then those guys get whatever's left over, which isn't going to be much. Neither one of them was able to fill the role that Farve wanted. Favre's the kind of guy that if you're not hooking up with him quick and you're not getting those catches quick, he doesn't even pay any more attention to you. He's not one of those quarterbacks that helps guys develop that aren't good right out of the gate. Sidney Rice was awesome for him from game one, and he helped him develop a lot.
Yeah.
Camarillo and Berrien have
And
just
this is not just because Bernard Berrien stiffed you with the carving line at the Whole Foods in Minneapolis.
No,
This
no,
has nothing
but
to do
that
with
was my slice.
Right.
So,
I
And we
understand.
didn't talk about Shank yet.
Shanko.
We'll see.
I think this is a golfing par for him. I think he's going to be exactly how he was. I don't think it adds to or takes away from him. It's going to be the same. Favre loves him.
there
Hey,
it is.
there's both Shanko and little
I
Shanko.
have to be quite honest with you. I actually think I think Shanko's red zone numbers are going to go down.
It might.
I think if he was the
agree.
big target in the red zone, he's not anymore. Randy Moss is a guy you can either throw the fade to the corner, you can get him on a quick out, you can get him on a crossing pattern. I mean, there's so many things you can do with Randy Moss in the red zone that really don't require such precision timing. That's why I was talking about him not having to be so accurate. You know, when Favre starts to do that lean back and he just lets it fly, he's got a good 5-10 yards laterally down the field where that ball can land anywhere. Moss will just go get it.
Yeah, and you're right. Shanko becomes the number 2 in the red zone now, which still isn't bad. He's still going to get. He's not going to be the first look. He'll be the second look. It's still not
Maybe.
bad.
Or if
that might
now,
be
what
reversed.
if now Harvin becomes the number 2 guy down there because he can get the underneath stuff?
Well, but Harvin is a lot like a Wes Welker. When you get inside the 20, they don't get a whole lot of opportunities there. They do their work in the middle of the field when the defense is a little more open. When those safeties can play up because you're on the 10-yard line, they're not as effective as they are in a big field.
small.
True.
But I do
Although
think
I have
Harvin's
seen
going to
him
get some
targeted.
yards.
Small
I have seen him
backs.
targeted a few times, and he has scored a couple inside 20. So that'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see, and we'll revisit that in a couple of weeks.
All right, what do we got next?
Great. Next news item, big news. Well, we just kind of talked about this.
Yes, but we didn't talk about the implications for most other people.
Yeah.
Sure. The Seahawks acquiring Marshawn Lynch. There he is again. God, boy, Ratatouille teeth.
Mother must be
I
proud.
don't know, maybe not Ratatouille.
He's a
Maybe
handsome
something
devil,
else.
guys. I
He
mean,
is a
look
handsome
at
devil.
him.
Well, he's a devil, that's
You
for
want
sure.
your
He literally has $1
He-
million smile.
Insane.
Literally.
Right, literally has $1 million smile. Look, Marshawn Lynch, great running back. This will be very interesting to those teams who are generally more patient than me, owners that are more patient than me, and held on to Marshawn Lynch,
Yeah.
like they should have, are really going to reap the benefits now.
And he escaped fantasy hell in Buffalo. Buffalo is it's the new Oakland.
It is the new fantasy
It's
purgatory,
now
yeah.
Oakland's actually a little bit more respectable now. You go to Buffalo to end your career and stop putting up stats. I mean, they're really bad. They can't do anything. They showcased him, which is why we were talking about, hey, this guy's going to get traded, and now he's on a team that is on the up, big time.
Yeah, I mean, in Seattle, he goes in and he's going to be the man, unfortunately, for my fantasy team.
Yeah.
But
Is
yeah,
there anything fortunate for your fantasy
you
team?
know, this year it appears not to be. It just, it happens. It happens. Everybody has a down year.
It's okay. There's
but-
always Farmville on Facebook.
There is.
But I think, he's going to step in. He's going to be the number 1 back that Pete Carroll has been looking for. Pete Carroll has been very hesitant to, even though last week it looked like Forsett was taking it away, obviously he still was not quite happy with where the run game was at. They make the move, great move, giving up again, nothing.
Yeah, and of course they gave Leon Washington all those great looks last week. Leon Washington had 1 carry for 1 yard.
But we said that.
Yeah, but he's a kick
He's a
returner.
right,
he's a kick
and a
returner.
great one.
Right.
I think we
So
warned. I
much
think
for
we
that
warned
experiment.
against that last week.
Yeah.
So.
But, and then you look, and since this trade has all kinds of fantasy implications for my team, since I have Justin Forsett and I have CJ Spiller, who I think now is
Still on Buffalo, so
still on Buffalo, but given the right game, I think, maybe he bumps up to 50, 60 yards a game. I mean, he's a very talented player. They're obviously showing they're committed to him in the future by trading Lynch.
Well, they named Jackson the starter, but it's one of those situations where there's not really a start. I mean, he'll take the first carry of the game, but it's going to be a pretty even split.
It's a two-back menace where one will be better than the other one week, and they'll probably flip the next week.
Technically, Buffalo doesn't even really show up to play, so none of them can get considered starters.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because Spiller is a great talent.
But they don't do anything in the middle either.
Yeah.
And they're
all right, well,
Jags.
let's move on to the next one. We're going to cover this a little bit in injury, but let's talk about the implications of this third story. You want to announce it here, Mark?
Sure. Clinton Portis, out 4 to 6 weeks.
Kind of dropped late.
What has he got? Ankle?
It is a third-degree separation of the left groin.
Yes. Well, that's close to the ankle.
Yeah. Apparently, he was trying to do the splits.
It's
I don't know.
just this far away from the ankle with some people.
It's on the leg.
That's a long leg.
He's a big guy.
But this, of course, makes Ryan Torain the starter in Washington. And the little I've seen of this guy, he's looked pretty good, fellas.
Yeah.
Ladies.
And if he's still somehow available in your league,
Pick him up.
Pick him up now. Stop. Just go now.
Yeah.
We're on. You're listening to us on a computer.
Yeah.
Open another window. Check your league. If he's available, get him because he's a hands down number one.
And realize this is a guy that Shanahan brought into Denver before he left and then brought to Washington. Shanahan is brilliant at finding these running backs out of nowhere. And this is really the first time Torian's going to get a guy. He didn't really get a shot in Denver. He was always behind somebody on that depth chart.
Too.
Yeah, he was a little banged up too. And now he's going to he's the man. Yeah. So we're going to get to see if this guy
and
has...
there's really nobody else in Washington to carry the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you would say, well, he's going to be the number one, but there's so-and-so. No, in Washington...
They're a run team. They're still, even with McNabb, they're a team that they open up the pass with the run. They're not letting New England. They don't open up the run with the pass. They go the other way.
They've got the Packers, and that's a pretty... we'll see.
It's a tough matchup with those linebackers.
But he's clearly a number one running back now who's not splitting carries.
Depending on your team, you might not want to start him this week. Can I take this last story, Mark?
Please.
Big news. Obviously, Holmes is back this week. Santonio Holmes. He's going to be a top 20, possibly top 15 wide receiver. And the way the Jets are playing, this immediately makes Sanchez better. This immediately opens it up for everybody more. It might bring Keller down a notch because Keller's been red zone target number one, and Holmes gets a lot of those deep. But it's not going to bring him down a lot. Keller's still great.
I think a big question with this is Santonio Holmes going to be effective, Adam, do you think, this week?
Yes.
Is there going to be an adjustment? You think he's one of those guys? I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a guy who he jumps right in, and he's just going to be
he's
gold.
a veteran.
Yeah.
He's not going to
even though Braylon
much.
Edwards has looked good this season.
Yeah.
Which concerns me a little bit as a Holmes owner, because I thought, well, if Braylon's a little bit off or whatever.
I think.
I still think he's going to be good.
Yeah, and when they say that they're suspended, it means they can't show up for practices and everything. But they're getting, this is what we're working on, study. He knows what he needs to be working on his own, and he's working out, and he's ready. He knows the playbook.
Yeah, like the return of Roethlisberger, who's
Yeah.
been working with the quarterback's coach for the last 5 weeks to refine some throwing mechanics.
And of course, Pittsburgh's getting them messages about this is what we're doing, this is what we're planning, And that's the second side of the story is Roethlisberger obviously on a bye this week, but coming back next week. So this is a good time if somebody is foolish enough to have dropped him, pick him up or maybe even trade for him. Roethlisberger will be back, and he'll be brilliant. I think Mark and JJ are looking right now.
No, he's gone.
All right, well, we went through the news. We went through bragging about what we've told you about. Now it's time to talk about who got dinged up this week in The Doctor Is In. All right, Ingrid, do we have you?
Hi guys, nice to see you again.
Hey, Ingrid. So let's start it off with the big news of this week, injury-wise. Obviously, it's Michael Vick. Got a rib cartilage injury. I don't know a whole lot about that. This is the first time I've even heard of a rib cartilage injury. It's not a broken rib. It's not a broken collarbone, which is good. But rib cartilage, how's Vick? When can we expect him back?
Okay, so Michael Vick has a rib cartilage injury, and the rib cartilage is where the rib joins the sternum and the front of the chest, and it allows for the rib cage to be springy so that the ribs can expand when a patient breathes in and contract when somebody breathes out. And, cartilage injuries in this area are treated just like rib injuries. So usually players are out for 2 to 4 weeks while that heals up. it's painful to breathe through a cartilage or a rib fracture like he has. So, I think he could rest up. That being said, this isn't a very serious injury, and I'm sure his dog's probably fought through plenty of rib fractures, so he could probably suck it up and play anytime he's ready.
Berger laying the smackdown on Vick with the dogs. Man,
Love it.
Claire and
Saucy
Berger
one,
are
isn't she?
not going to forgive him, ever. All right, our next guy, yet another high ankle sprain, Steve Smith, Carolina. When can we expect this guy back, Doc?
So Steve Smith's high ankle sprain, we've talked about high ankle sprains a little bit in previous sessions. It's a pretty common injury. It happens during outward twisting of the ankle. And high ankle sprain is defined as an injury to the ligaments that connect the tibia and the fibula just above the ankle. Again, these can be various severities, so I think that since he's expected to be back in 2 weeks, he probably just strained these ligaments rather than tearing them. A tear can actually require surgery, and a patient can be out for about 6 months. So since he's expected to play in 2 or 3 weeks or so, I think he just sprained this ligament, and I don't have any reason to believe that he shouldn't be able to play in 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
Oh, all right.
High ankle sprain.
Every team, I guess, it's a prerequisite now in the NFL. Every team has to have one guy with a high ankle sprain.
Sure.
It seems to be that year.
I would
It's a
like one of
quota
them to just
system.
like
Yeah, it's a
roll
quota
an
Not the
ankle.
worst thing.
Yeah.
Everybody can use a little high ankle sprain every once in a
And
while.
by the way, Carolina was bad. Now
Yeah.
they are Buffalo bad. I mean, it's
they're
not
bad.
Clausen's fault. He's a rookie. Nobody expects him to be able to win games. But without Steve Smith, they got nothing.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to stack the box on him. I don't even know if I'd start D'Angelo Williams this week.
Bradford's winning games too, so.
Yeah, Bradford's looking good. Our next injury is a concussion. We get a lot of these, especially at this position. Jay Cutler, bodybuilder named Jay Cutler. If you Google Jay Cutler, I swear you're going to see 50 pictures of this
Wow.
guy and none of Jay Cutler. So I just
guy
figured to make
is
it easy.
ripped.
Yeah, Jay Cutler working out.
The bear shit.
So Cutler's out this week for sure. Doctor, how long is he going to be out for?
So Cutler's concussion. So we talked a few sessions ago about the NFL's concussion guidelines, and now these were revised in December of 2009 and made more strict to protect the players. So before 2009, a player wasn't allowed to return to the field to play if he had lost consciousness after a concussion. Now the guidelines are more strict after 2009, so not only can you not return to play if you lost consciousness, but if you have a headache, any sort of focal neurological symptoms like motor or sensory loss, if there's a lot of nausea or vomiting, any mental status changes, any sort of neurological symptoms. So you really have to now be back to baseline, be totally neurologically intact and asymptomatic to be able to return to play. I think this is a step in the right direction in terms of protecting these players' mental health and neurological health down the line. So for Cutler, he was sacked 9 times during the first half, and then he didn't return for the second half to play. Now, we don't know when during the course of the first half he actually suffered his concussion. He could have suffered it early on and then just played right through that, being sacked multiple times, even though he had a head injury. A lot of players try to play through concussions or any sort of bad headache because they want to play. So we're not really sure when he'll be able to return to play. I think it just is going to be a day-by-day assessment whether or not he's asymptomatic, and I don't know what his particular symptoms are. He didn't lose consciousness, but certainly he could have been sacked multiple times after he suffered an injury. So I would be cautious with this one and not be very optimistic that he could play in the next game. But again, it'll depend on his symptoms day by day.
All right, so that's Jay Cutler. Sounds like he's going to be out maybe for a little while longer. He's definitely not playing this week. We know that, which is not good news for Chicago. But the good news is Chicago's kind of on a bye week because they get Carolina.
Right. Better news for me is I never liked the guy in the first place.
He hates bodybuilding.
That's just vicious.
Yeah.
So our next guy on the list here is Darren McFadden. He's a guy we recommended, we talked about. He's got He's got this hamstring injury. Now, apparently it's to the other hamstring. He had struggles in preseason with a hamstring injury, but that was on the other leg.
Right.
So how is this injury any different from his preseason injury?
McFadden injured his right hamstring, and now in the preseason he injured his left hamstring, which set him back a little bit. But this right hamstring injury apparently seems to be fairly minor. He's downplaying it. Again, the hamstrings are a group of muscles in the back of the thigh that allow the knee to flex. And they're graded injuries, so grade 1 is just a partial minor tear of those muscle fibers, grade 2 is further tear, and grade 3 is complete rupture of the entire hamstring muscle. It seems like he probably suffered a grade 1, so he may be back to playing as early as 1 to 3 weeks. That's my best guess. I think he's slated to be out for 1 to 2 weeks, so that could certainly be an accurate prediction for him.
All right, about 1 to 3 weeks. Good to know. It's sad for me because I've got him on 2 of my teams, and he's been amazing for the 9th or 10th round
However,
pick.
Marty and I have still refused to have a cup of coffee with him, and I think Marty and I are being vindicated. I don't know how that works out, but I'm throwing it out there.
Well, vindication is a very broad term. I have Michael Bush on my team, so
That's
I
good
am
for
finally
you.
excited that I have some running back that I can feel confident in. But I just want to say something. This is on a more serious note. You know, this may be called fantasy football, folks, but these are real people with real injuries, okay? And this right here is a real football. So, it's not all fun and games.
All I know is if he doesn't get back quick and get me 20 points, I'm going to hate him forever.
I would,
All right,
I would
so,
firebomb his house.
They make so much money.
Anyway, moving on.
lot of
Ingrid,
money.
thank you very much. Great reporting again on all these injuries.
Real
we will see you
people.
next week.
Real problems, real health care. That's why they're lucky. Okay.
Bye,
Thanks,
Ingrid.
Ingrid.
Thank you.
Bye, Ingrid.
Bye-bye, and good luck this week.
We do have one more guy. Now, we mentioned him earlier, but remember, Clinton Portis is out 4 to 6 weeks, 3rd degree separation of the left groin. Torain's now the man there. We're going to talk about him more in this next segment, where we talk about who's available out there, who should be picking up. It's called On the Wire. And it's there.
There we go. My favorite graphic.
It's very Star Warsy. Yeah, little Star
Yeah,
Warsy.
that's my favorite graphic. Corey, if you're watching, that's my favorite graphic.
Yeah,
We
I
love
like
you,
it.
Corey.
I actually like the fantasy news too. That one's good. But anyway, moving on. We've got obviously a lot of these trades are affecting people out there. Now, when I looked, Brandon Tate was available in 79% of leagues. He might have already gone through waivers in your league, but if he's out there, definitely pick him up. He's the new deep threat for Tom Brady and the Patriots.
But what about Aaron Hernandez?
Well, Aaron Hernandez should have already been picked up, although he's still available in 73% of leags. Why aren't you listening
That's
to me?
interesting. I thought there was a moratorium on speaking about Aaron Hernandez.
No, there never will be.
Aaron Herd. I keep saying the name.
R.
Did I misspell it?
Hernandez.
I probably misspelled
Like Larry Herndon.
I'm a
You know what?
terrible
We're gonna
speller.
have to. Okay, no. Say the next one, and then I have a wager.
Okay. Well, and also in the same vein of the Randy Moss trade, Julian Edelman is going to see a lot more looks now. He's now the number 3 there. You know, and he's a little bit better of a deep threat than Wes Welker. Wes Welker is the best receiver in the league in those little short cut routes. He's amazing. Edelman's like that too, but he's got a little fresher legs, a little younger legs. He'll get a little more deep looks. I don't like him as much as Tate, but he's available in 85% of leagues. He's a guy to pick up if you've got wide receiver problems. Claire, what did you want to say?
So
about
here's my idea. Now we're talking about Tate, we're talking about Hernandez, we're talking about Edelman and Welker. I feel like of all these guys, they can't all be good performers every week. So I think we should all bet on like which guy is going to be like, nah, he's like not going to.
Well, let me think
Well,
about
let
that
me
for a
see
second.
who
Aaron
Adam-
Hernandez.
He's the loser. No, we're going to like the loser of the bunch. Like.
So he picked Aaron Hernandez already without listening to the question.
Right.
So his choice
So
is done.
I think basically it's like of Tate and Edelman, which like I feel like of those two.
I think. Are we talking just who's going to underperform their current levels,
Yeah.
or who's the odd man out?
Who's the odd man out? Basically.
Who's the odd man
Of
out?
those 3?
I think Edelman ends
4?
up being the odd man out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
No, you already picked Aaron Hernandez. So
I have to tell you, I am filled with doubt as to exactly who is going to be the guy in New England. I mean, losing a Randy Moss is very different. I'm not sure that this Brandon Tate guy, who most people haven't even heard of, just suddenly steps in and becomes this great receiver who's catching all kinds of balls and going down, going vertical and all this. I'm not sold on it yet. So we'll have to see. The New England running game is getting a lot better than what it was last year.
Little Danny
Even at the beginning of this, little Danny Woodhead, Claire's cousin. And, you got, so I'm just not sold yet. I'm not sold. It's a little wait and see, but absolutely, he's definitely a number one pickup.
Oh, yeah. A lot of these guys you're going to pick
the
up.
roster spot.
If you spend your year picking up, 15 guys and 5 of them become great players for you, that's a win.
Sure.
That's
Sure.
okay. There's
Yeah.
going to be guys you pick up that don't do a thing that you think are going to be great and just amount to nothing.
Right,
That
like
happens
So
all the
maybe,
time.
pick up these guys. Like, fun game for you this week.
Yeah.
Figure out which is going to be the.
Yeah, if you're like Claire and you don't mind losing, and you can pick up anybody at any time, then just
Yeah, or you could do.
don't even start at tight
yeah.
end.
This isn't about winning, guys. This is just about having fun, all right?
It's about winning, Colin.
Colin,
You shut your dirty
I
mouth.
said it once, I'll
Kill
say
you.
it
Shut your
again.
dirty
I
mouth.
will kill you.
These
Or
are real
I
people in
could-
real situations with
God.
real problems and great health.
I will
And
straight
we
up
know
go
that's a real
LeGarrette
football.
Blunt on you
We
right
know
now.
That's a real football.
Speaking of LeGarrette Blunt, or you can also play what I like to call running back roulette, which is when you have a team that consists of Fred Jackson, LeGarrette Blunt, Reggie Bush, Justin Forsett, C.J. Spiller, and Beanie Wells. You're just hoping that one of those guys
Dude, I'll do
maybe
you one
does it,
better.
okay?
I'll do you one better. Michael Bush, Sean Green, Donald Brown, Pierre Thomas, Brandon Jackson, Liddell Betts. I'll do you one better, partner. And that's why we're Tech Corner right here.
Yeah.
Because we can
They need
access
it.
this very easily and share with you.
All right, the next guy we're going to talk about, we'll go briefly with him because we covered him earlier. Brandon Pettigrew is still available in 85% of leagues. If you've got tight end problems, great pickup. Now moving on to the biggest pickup of the week. I doubt he's available. Ryan Torain, 66% of leagues.
Torain. Ryan Torain.
I like Torain better. Why is there an I in it? Why do people
Because it
put
comes
S's?
after the A. It was spelled wrong.
Who spelled it wrong?
I don't know. Whoever came up with this.
I'm firing my secretary.
document. Yeah,
All right,
you should
so
definitely do that.
Ryan Torain.
Her name is Adam.
Sorry, apparently. I like slaughtering names.
We have to get a butcher symbol. Like
Seriously.
a little graphic. Corey out there? We need a guy in a butcher's hat with a
Yeah.
big knife, and every time Adam butchers
Also,
a name, we just...
Corey says Torian is the last level of Metroid.
Interesting side note. Interesting side
Outstanding.
note. Yeah, where you have to kill the big mother brain. Yeah, I know very well.
Oh, that's what was in your head.
But moving on.
All right,
Moving on.
Exactly. The next guy, now we had a lot of QBs go down this week, so there's not a lot out there for you, but I'm going to recommend Shawn Hill because he's playing St. Louis. It's probably going to be a bit of a shootout. He's available in 91% of leagues. He's been very serviceable as a starter. I wouldn't say every week, but he'll get you through this week, and then maybe you'll get Cutler or Vick back. Any quarterbacks you guys like that are out there? I mean,
I think, Shawn Hill, and he played half the year for the 49ers last year, and he did fine.
Sean
And
Hill
if you
was
play for the
very more
49ers,
than
you're-
serviceable
Yeah,
for the 49ers.
he did fine.
you're automatically good in Claire's book if you play for the 49ers.
I mean, but you also, I mean,
Automatically
Shawn Hill, I think,
miserable.
is definitely your number one. He's thrown for almost 1,000 yards already this season. And I think he's more than serviceable. If you have a borderline guy, I would, you can think about starting him if your starter's, a number 2 guy going against tough defense.
And you have to think you have, we talked about Pettigrew, and you have Calvin Johnson to throw too. So
And Javid Best is a
You know.
great receiver out of the backfield. He's got a lot of good players on that team.
if he plays this week, we'll see how he's feeling.
Well, I think Hill's definitely playing, and I think from what I understand, Stafford's
No,
not.
Best.
Oh, Best. Oh, Best is going to play. He practiced.
Yeah.
He practiced today, and he had a partial practice
I mean, if
yesterday.
you
He's
need
still-
I
another
don't know, he
quarterback,
kind
you
of
probably
played
got like a
last
David Gerard kicking around the bottom of your league. You've got maybe a Josh Freeman
I think
kicking
Hill
around the
might
bottom
be
of
better
your
than
league.
like. We
Gerard.
recommended him as a
Josh
pickup.
Freeman, but so you're not, you're
Yeah.
not looking at a ton of guys out there. If Shawn Hill's out there, he's definitely better than those guys who are
Yeah.
established starters.
Yeah. All right, next guy we're going to talk about real quick. I added him to the list late, so you guys don't have him because I'm sneaky like that. Mike Bell. LaShawn McCoy is not playing this week. He's available in 67% of leagues. He's now the starting back in Philadelphia, and he did pretty good when he had to fill in New Orleans last year for the first 2 weeks. I believe he had over 200 yards in 2 weeks. He looked good. He's a serviceable guy. He's playing the 49ers this week, and they've looked shaky against the run. So
You're just being polite, Adam.
yeah, they've looked
You
terrible.
can say they
against the
look
run.
like poop.
Yeah. like wet Kleenex.
Terrible
A wet
poop.
Kleenex curtain in San Francisco is what that defense is called. So they're horrible. So Mike Bell's a good pickup if he's still available, especially for you McCoy owners. And then
I got one more guy.
Go for it.
I got one more guy, and I'll tell you, I just picked him up right now. 45 seconds ago, I just picked up our guy. Marty, are you out there? Mike Thomas from Jacksonville. They're talking about him being the go-to guy. He's been targeted more than anybody on that team. Mike Sims-Walker, pretty good, but Mike Thomas has gotten a majority of the targets. He's caught 28 balls or he's
Claire,
caught
I'm
22
pretty
balls
sure
for
he's
207
available in your
yards.
league, so-
Claire, he's definitely his whole family is available in your league.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, Mike Thomas could end up being a force. Garrard looked better last week. Their offense is starting to get going a little bit. And if you've got a Garrett Hartley sitting on your bench, who's not going to be kicking anymore for New Orleans, he's been replaced by a 48-year-old, then Mike Thomas might be a good pickup for you. He's owned in 18% of leagues on Sportsline, on CBS Sportsline.
And you Jones Drew owners out there, I want you guys to thank us because we called MJD out last week, and what did he do? He got in the end zone.
He got in the end zone.
See, he heard us, and he thought, I can't let those guys talk smack about me like that, especially in those 49ers jerseys.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Dude.
A couple other things we talk about this in this segment. Defenses playing bad offenses. One of my favorite strategies is just to rotate your defense against bad offenses. So St. Louis and Detroit get each other. I like St. Louis a little more because I think St. Louis's offense is better than Detroit's. I think Bradford's a little more confident.
Also, the defense has been looking a little more aggressive.
I think,
Mm-hmm.
So and then they might not be available, but Chicago gets Carolina, and that's a gimme. New Orleans gets Arizona,
Peppers.
and Arizona's looking pretty bad. That is, we got anybody else? Oh, you know what? I do want to we mentioned some guys last week that were on bye last week because I wanted to be able to pick them up for anybody else. Tony Moyaki in Kansas City, great tight end pickup. LeGarrette Blount, that's Tampa Bay. He is now their goal line back, and I don't think it's going to take him long to take over that starting job. He was a first-round talent who had issues with punch, in fact, punching other people. But that's the only reason he wasn't drafted right up there with Matthews and Best.
I'm going to say keep your eye out for Mike Williams from Tampa. They were on a bye last week, so people haven't really, when these guys go on their bye weeks, nobody's really talking about them.
Yeah.
But now that they're coming back, they're playing Cincy. I haven't seen much of Cincy, to be quite honest, but I know they've been involved in a couple of, decently high-scoring affairs. So it could be interesting. He could establish himself as a real sort of mainstay on your lineup as a number 2 or number 3 receiver.
Yeah. All right. And that sums up on the wire. We told you the news. We told you who was hurt. And we told you who to pick up to replace those guys. And now this is our segment where we talk about what you do with players with your questions. It's called Smash, Stash, or Trash. If they're a smash.
It's your turn.
Okay. If it's a smash, that means start them. They're a smash hit. Stash means keep them on your bench. Maybe they'll be better in the future. Trash means they play for Buffalo. Okay. So.
Funny.
Or JJ's already got him on the bench.
They look good on a bicycle, guys. They look really good on a bicycle. All right, the first one, the Power 1977, has a question of whether to start Brandon Lloyd or Des Bryant.
Oh.
I
think
Lloyd.
Lloyd, yeah.
Brandon Lloyd.
Lloyd had a great week last week, too. He's clearly established himself as number 1.
Yeah.
He's a smash.
Sure, love Brandon Lloyd. Smash him.
Smash.
Smash Lloyd. I would say Lloyd and Royal are the guys on Denver that are getting looks every week.
And
they're
Orton's
solid.
been playing really well.
Orton's
too.
like
Yes.
second in
Yeah.
yards in all of football, which
had
is
almost 500.
bizarre. Yeah. All right. What else we got?
All right, the next one, another either or for Hugo Jones. Gaffney or Amendola?
Gaffney.
Amendola.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thin league. I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah.
I feel worse for me, of course. But
Although
I don't know,
is
Amendola,
getting
yeah.
Detroit, so that's a
He's kind of doing the Wes Welker thing, too, being that short
Yeah.
route.
Yeah.
yeah.
And he got, what are his stats from that? Because I feel like he did pretty well last week.
You don't know how to spell Amendola.
Amendola.
His first name's Danny.
I do know how to
It's
spell
Danny
that.
Amendola.
Yeah.
Last week he had 5
did
catches for
great.
46 yards.
Okay.
And he plays Detroit this week.
But that's pretty much what he has averaged. He's got 6 for 67,
He's got
4 for
21
39.
catches on the
Yeah.
year. It's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's consistent.
He's consistently
Yeah.
going to get you 5 to 6 points.
Yeah. Well, so there's your answer. Your answer is you want consistency. You go with Amendola. If you want boom or bust, you go Gaffney. Because Gaffney could put up a huge game, but he could also disappear.
Yeah.
You know what interests me about this kid, though? As teams take Mark Clayton more seriously, I wonder if that is going to open things up for him. Because,
interesting.
A while ago, when Wes Welker first burst on the scene, kind of the opposite happened. People thought, oh, well, they're going to start paying attention to him, but he's just that good.
Yeah.
With a guy like Clayton, I mean, we don't know if he's that good yet. He's been good. He's obviously getting open. He's obviously the preferred target for Sam Bradford, but it could be the kind of thing where, okay, now teams are starting to take them seriously. They're going to key in on Clayton. Maybe it does open something up. Maybe he does get a couple of touchdowns here and there. Yeah. He's got to get in the end zone sometime, right?
I mean, he's definitely Gaffney could have a huge game. He could disappear. I would start. I'm going to slaughter his name. Amendola. Yeah.
And
he had that great one-handed catch too last week, didn't he? Which was. It's always exciting.
Small, fast guy.
Detroit,
she knows everything about him.
Small and fast. I do think it's about consistency, and I would say, depending on who your number one, wide receiver is, this is your number 2, and I would go with consistency. Maybe.
Yeah, let's hope you're asking about a 2 or a 3.
I would hope you're asking about a 2.
Or like a desperate flex play that you're choosing.
And if you're into these stats, Detroit ranks 3rd in most yards per reception allowed by wide receivers in the NFL. So this could be an interesting week for Mr. Amendola.
What else we got, Colin?
Amen.
All right, what are you guys thinking of Kansas City's defense against Indianapolis?
Well,
they lost last week, so I think they might just
And they put up a
slaughter
lot of
Kansas City.
They
I think this is a...
Can I? Who asked this question?
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
I don't say a name, it means I make
Well, let me tell you something, stat boy. Even though I'm looking at my own stats, Colin, I'll tell you this. I've got the Chiefs defense. They have been good. I don't have many options in my league. All these defenses are gone, but I have to agree with Claire. I'm definitely concerned about Indy coming out and just exploding at the Dome.
Yeah,
And again, Casey has surprised.
But
Casey has surprised, but Casey,
but they've surprised against middle of the road or bad teams.
I think this is the week that they stopped going undefeated, and I think Indy's going to.
Chicago got exposed last week. Kansas City gets exposed this week.
But hold on,
Indianapolis is going to destroy them.
Team.
They are arguably the best passing team in the league.
Good offense, great offense.
Yeah.
And you're starting the Kansas City defense.
Yeah, it's
so
just
you're asking.
They're going to get scored on.
Like I said, I don't have many options.
Manning doesn't turn it over. You're not going to sack Manning.
I say you stash them this week if you have an extra roster spot for defense to see if they are
just drop them.
But special teams, if their special teams are involved, included like mine, right?
Yeah.
They could get a return.
McCluster's great.
McCluster's great. So
yeah.
Let's see. I'm praying.
What else we got?
Colin. Let's pray.
That is a trash for me.
Trash.
I'm making the executive decision. You trash Kansas City this week as a D.
Wow. Yeah. That hurt.
Sorry.
On to baseball.
Had to do it. No.
Roy Halladay.
No baseball in my football.
All right. Moving on.
All right. Rob Gronkowski out of New England.
Yeah.
Is he, what should we do with that?
Ooh, we didn't even put him into the conversation.
Yeah, he didn't get talked about much, but he's the tight end with height.
Yeah,
Randy Moss deal, we didn't talk about him?
Yeah.
He's the red zone target.
Tight end with height.
Yeah.
Well, when you're described as the tight end, I think the difference is that Hernandez has really taken over as the primary pass-catching tight end. And he's, maybe he gets a couple extra looks, but...
Yeah.
He'll get the red zone looks that Randy Moss would have gotten had they been throwing to him in the red zone. The only touchdowns he got were deeper passes.
Yeah.
Once they got inside the 20, they ignored him. So I don't know. I mean, if they decide to start using somebody like that again, Gronkowski's the guy because he's the big tight end. He's got good hands. But I don't know if that's really part of their scheme anymore.
Yeah, and I would say, from my point of view, I don't care.
Because he's too in love with Aaron Hernandez.
Because now Aaron Hernandez has been pounded into my brain and my soul. He's now my favorite New England player of all time.
I will say, though, Gronkowski, as a rookie, I mean, he's very, very good, and I know that New England was super excited about him, and I do expect them to use him at some point.
He was drafted ahead of Hernandez.
Yeah.
So
So,
there was a preseason game where he had 2 touchdowns.
I mean, I think he's gonna get thrown into the mix. Where and when?
Well,
will
that's
have to
why
see.
you keep
JJ?
him.
I would
stash him.
I'm
He's
saying
not-
stash.
I'd stash him as
Yeah.
well.
Stash.
I think he's, unanimous stash. Keep him around. He's somebody who might fill in for bye weeks for you. He usually gets 1 or 2 catches, but it's almost always one of them for a touchdown. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Who else we got?
Okay, Verdugo Jones wants to know if Jerome Harrison is going to be a sleeper this weekend. It says Peyton Hillis has a slight thigh injury.
He's fine.
He's fine.
It looks like one of those.
Trash.
Yeah.
Trashity trash.
Yeah.
Super trash.
I have actually already trashed him off my own team
Yeah.
and replaced him with the likes of the running backs you heard. So
If he's not good enough for JJ's team, super trash.
I don't think there's a super trash button on
We're going to have to make one.
Yeah.
Maybe we can steal, what's the Brendan Fraser? Yeah, Last Airbender from Stupid for Movies.
Maybe we could have a Super Tramp thing that comes across and play Super Tramp music.
Yeah, I like that.
Everyone loves
Goodbye,
Super
stranger.
Tramp.
All right.
What else we got, Colin?
Yeah. Okay.
We could do that, JJ.
we could.
Let's go with
Just, we don't have to.
Ryan
No, we don't have to.
Fitzpatrick versus the Jaguars.
Our Jaguars.
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 Ryan
Jaguars.
I think he plays for Buffalo.
It's the Buffalo
And-
Poison.
You got it. Unless you're in like
I
a
don't understand the question.
16-team
Versus-
league, you've got to
playing
be able to
Jacksonville as
find a better quarterback to pick
Just
up.
don't really start anybody named
There's
Fitz. And
five
trash
guys. There's 5 guys available on your waiver wire that I would take before.
Yeah,
him
why don't you just
right
go get
now.
Shawn Hill?
Yeah, drop him. Start Shawn Hill this week. Get rid of Fitzpatrick. He's
Sure,
trash.
sure.
Trash.
I agree. Should start Shawn Hill. That's a new pilot.
What else we got,
Start
Colin?
Start
Hill.
Shawn Hill.
Okay. Show 123 is asking Santonio Holmes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super stud.
It's
Love
like-
him.
Well, consider Claire's fantasy
We
team.
love Santonio Holmes.
Santonio Holmes.
I just love him.
A lot of love. I would put him
so
a close
great.
second to Aaron Hernandez. That's how good he is.
I don't quite love him as much as the 3 of you, but he's
Oh,
he's
well then,
He's a top 20 wide receiver. He's a top 20 wide
Yeah, he's-
receiver.
I think he's outstanding. Santonio Holmes is quite a talent. He's rested. He's ready.
He's spunky.
He's spunky.
He's spunky.
He looks great on TV. His butt looks fantastic in that Jets uniform.
I don't know
as
how-
JJ. And here's the thing with Santonio Holmes. I just think that.
He's gonna be so excited to be on the field.
Oh yeah, he's going to be thrilled to be on the field. He's a playmaker.
Is he a puppy? Is he like a puppy?
Yeah, he is. He peed a little bit before going on the field because he got so
puppy.
excited. Yeah.
He's puppy love. He nuzzles.
But
I think Santonio's going to be great because I just do, and I think the Jets' offense has really found their groove now,
Yeah.
and I think they're going to open it up, and I think they're going to give Sanchez. He's going to have a couple.
I think
of nice
this
shots
what,
down the
what we're
field.
witnessing right now is Rex Ryan going, okay, you've done what I've asked for a year and a half, Sanchez. You've not turned it over. You've let your defense and your running backs win games, and now we're going to use that arm that you made famous at USC. You got he's a great quarterback. They've just been letting him go slowly into the league. I think Sanchez is about to put up some serious numbers for a while, and a lot of that has to do with Holmes coming back.
And unfortunately, as a Vikings fan, I don't think that defense is as solid as it's been the past years. I think it's a little past its prime.
Revis isn't
so I don't think
Revis is definitely down a notch from last year, and he was what made that defense so remarkable because your number one pass catcher, you just erase him. I mean, he would just literally take every great pass catcher out of the league last year. He's not doing that this year. Randy Moss scored on him. He's not as good as he was last year, and I think
I was actually talking about the Vikings
Vikings,
defense.
yeah.
But I was
We're
going to let you
talking about
continue
Jets.
to talk about the Jets. The Vikings defense, which for so long has been a very fearful unit, you didn't want to play them, you sat players against them. I still think they're solid, but they're no longer you have to worry about
Vaunted,
starting a player against them.
Yeah, I agree. They just seem to have incredible team defense chemistry, and it was palpable, it was visible.
Yeah.
You could see it on the field the last couple of years.
Yeah.
This year, not so much.
I
know
still
who-
worry about Jared Allen though, for the reasons that I was talking about earlier. Cooking and the moose and those things.
He cooked moose.
Yeah, he has a cookbook.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
That's why he
Jared
lists
Allen
himself
kills
as
moose.
going to the
Moose.
Culinary Institute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kills moose.
All right. Well, one thing I'll say real quick is I believe from here on out the number one fantasy defense is Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Reason why they got Roethlisberger back. That keeps the other team's defense on the field longer. It makes their defense fresher, and they've already been playing incredible football. I think Polamalu is defensive MVP of the year this year. No problem. That tackle he made over the line.
There it is. Defensive Player of the Year. He's calling it right now. Troy
Polamalu.
Polamalu.
And Hernandez finishes as a top 5 tight end. You heard
Oh
it here
my
first.
God.
What else you got,
All right.
Colin? So we don't have to talk about Hernandez again.
Josh Freeman, Tampa Bay quarterback, going up against Cincinnati.
Well, again, I mean, I think it's one of those things where, because we haven't really heard much about these guys for a couple of weeks, you go on your bye week, you're off the radar. I like Josh Freeman. I like his mobility. I like his arm. I like what they're doing there. I think as LeGarrette Blount becomes more involved in the offense, I like how they're going to mix up the pass and the run. He and Cadillac are two different runners, I think, right?
Yeah.
And I like Mike Williams. And I think Freeman's a good start.
And
look, it may fall completely apart, right? It may be the kind of game where he gets maybe just a few points, but he does have the potential to have a nice, solid game for you. Maybe get you what in my league would be like 20 points. 2 touchdowns, 225, 30 yards, and he has a good day and contributes to your team.
And if your normal starters on a bye this week, he's a guy to pick up and start.
He's a good pickup. He's available in around 80% of leagues. Also, a lot of people have forgotten that he's got a great tight end, too. They haven't been using him yet, but Kellen Winslow is a great tight end.
Yeah.
So he's got Mike Williams, he's got Kellen Winslow, he's got LeGarrette Blount, he's got Cadillac Williams, and he's the type of quarterback that can play when a pocket breaks down. He's got great legs. He can get outside. He can make the run. He can make the throw out of the pocket. I would say he's second to me. He's Shawn Hill, Josh Freeman if you're in trouble. Freeman's a better long-term guy. If you're in a keeper league, I'd pick him up and stash him right away.
And I think the Bengals' defense has looked a little shaky.
Yeah, they're not as good as they were last year. So I'd say if you had Cutler, if you had Vick, definitely start him this week. He's a good start.
And if nobody's asking about David Garrard,
I like
playing against the Bills.
That's true.
You could do worse. You could do worse with a guy.
You could.
I mean, of course, had a couple of horrible games, but came back last week, recovered. Garrard, he's a trooper. You
never know. They may start Trent Edwards against the Bills. Get some vengeance in.
That would be
freak
awful.
accident happens to David Garrard.
Right.
And then
It doesn't a freak accident. I'll tell you what it'd be right now. It'd be a high ankle sprain.
Well,
Injury of the year.
Or a lawn mowing incident.
Yeah.
So what are we giving him? We give him Freeman a smash? It sounds like we got
I think he's a stash.
Smash.
He's a stash, but I understand if you got to start him this week because there's a lot of quarterbacks down. So he's a stash. He's a good fill-in. He's a stadash. Stood a match.
Or smatash.
So yeah, there you go. I like smatash better.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else?
Verdugo Jones wants to know who the best kicker in the league is. They have Reed on a bye week, and we've never actually discussed kickers that much here.
That's what Adam.
There is a reason for that because kickers don't matter.
I will say this right now because I also have Reed on a bye week. He may be the best kicker in the league, but just drop him and pick up whoever's available, and maybe get him back next week. Maybe you don't.
If Matt Prater's available from Denver, pick him up. He's been great for both of us and our regular team.
So even though he's the best kicker in the league, trash him.
I will say there's no such thing as the best kicker in the league. It's going to change. Reed will not continue to be the best kicker in the league because with Roethlisberger back, they're going to get in the end zone more and he's going to get less field goals. Kickers get you a lot of points when they're on a team that's good at getting to the 20 and horrible at getting in the end zone. See Baltimore for 5 years in a row. I mean, their kicker's always been great because they have a lot of games where they win 16-7. So that's 3 field goals. It's a great game.
One of the best kickers.
Yeah.
And conversely, consider this, folks. And I don't want to get too deep here. But there's also no such thing as the worst kicker in the league.
Yeah. Kickers have a lot more to do with matchups than anybody else.
Jeff Reed's been missing a ton. Like, my theory is that kickers don't make field goals, and if they do, it's really lucky. It's all emotional, as I was talking about last week. So, like, kickers, yeah.
Kickers don't make field goals. Bad play calling makes field goals.
It's all emotional.
I thought it was kickers don't make field goals, emotions do.
Yeah.
Emotions do, right.
Can we just trash Reed and stop talking about kickers?
Matt Prater.
He's not a
Matt
trash.
Prater
He's a
from
stash.
Denver. Do it.
Yeah, but
Scout Danny
trash.
Amendola.
he's a trash maybe this week, but he's definitely a good
Right,
kicker.
but we're talking about this week. We're not talking about Reed in 5 weeks from now.
This is, by the way, this is all we'll talk about kickers all year long. So you're welcome, Verdugo Jones.
I'll recommend a kicker every week. That'll be
Oh
nice.
no.
Is that trash?
Yeah, we'll trash him.
It's something.
Dump him to pick somebody else up, and then pick him back up the next week.
All right.
Okay.
Next on the list is Nate Washington.
Oh.
This is one of those
the hell is
situations.
that?
It's not his fault. He's on a team
not.
that's not good at passing.
Situation or no trash.
I think trash.
He's
Yeah,
getting nothing. He will
he's
get nothing.
getting
If you have
For
return
now.
yards, maybe, and you have a player
still
returner,
trash.
but trash.
He's a
still
trash. He's a trash. Give me more.
Is this week finally the week to start Michael Bush?
Well, for me it is because I have no other choice.
Well, and I'll say this.
Put a gun to my head.
Follow us on Twitter at Stupid for Football, the number 4 football. Reason being is Darren McFadden is most likely not playing, but that can always change. If McFadden plays, Bush is maybe a decent flex start, but he's not a starter. If it's McFadden's team, and it will be even if he sits out a couple of weeks, because he's been unbelievable in the first 4 weeks. But that said, Michael Bush is probably going to be a good start this week because I do think that McFadden will miss. I'll let you guys know early on Sunday whether or not that happens. Last week, we had a little technical glitch, and my good friend Mick Jabber you're not ready? I can help you. I can help you remember.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We're going to do this.
Right,
this is Mick Jabber. Go.
It was a little, I don't know.
Yeah.
But okay.
We did this last week, but it got lost in technical limbo. So we're going to do it again this week.
It did.
Go for it. Yeah.
Well, in our effort here at Stupid for Fantasy Football to sort of package seemingly disparate parts and put them all together for you.
It was on last week.
It was on last week.
It did make it?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
great.
no need to do
Producer
that now.
Mike lied to
Right.
me.
We were told by the producing team that it did not make it. I'm glad it did because timing is
It
everything.
was cut off once you were done with
In
it.
that
I think
case,
that's fantastic.
In
'cause I
that
don't wanna
case,
think
I'll
anymore.
tease some segments that'll be coming up for Mark. He's going to do an all-team of players' names that I've butchered. I know that's on the list.
Sure, yeah.
That'd be a good team, too.
That'd be
Yeah.
really
Because
good.
I like to butcher
we
me some
should all
football
rookie
names.
Yeah, we're also going to be doing a shopping segment
Shopping segment.
based on players' shopping tendencies, right, JJ?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, we're working
eBay.
on that as we know right now.
No.
Astrology signs.
The all
Colin is
cancer
going to
team.
supply
Do a
players by
All
star
Zodiac
sign.
team.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
really
we'll
don't
see.
know how it would work.
Right, no idea. He's had a week to think about it. He pitched it last week, so we'll see.
All right.
That was all I thought.
Remember, everybody, pick up Brandon Tate, Julian Edelman, Brandon Pettigrew, Ryan Torain. I got it right.
And keep an eye out for Mike Thomas.
Yeah,
My
Mike
boy
Thomas,
Marty.
Sean Hill, Mike Bell, if you can get them. I want to make a special thank you to TriCaster. TriCaster has provided us with this brilliant, brilliant TriCaster that lets us do this show and lets us stream live. Thank you, Philip. You're the man. And that's it.
Oh,
What?
one more thing. We made a bet, Marty and I, first week. Sean Green versus Steven Jackson for the entire year. Okay? Steven Jackson's only up 61 yards right now. Only 61 yards.
still
so
holding
stay
on to
tuned.
hope.
Season-long
And
bet
Steven
continues.
Jackson's going to get injured at some point. Thanks a
Jackson
lot
will
for
get
tuning
injured.
in. Follow us at the number 4 football for all the late-breaking updates right before the games this weekend. See you next week. Good luck out there, guys. Hello and welcome to Stupid for Fantasy Football. I am Adam. This is Claire, Jabber, and JJ. We're going to be bringing you all of the late-breaking news from this week. It's been a big week. First, follow us on Twitter at Stupid4, the number 4 football. Stupid4 football on Twitter. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Blip, iTunes, you name it. Also, go to Ustream/StreaminGarage. No G at the end of streamin', just stream in. And check out our other shows.
We're
Stupid for
everywhere.
movies. Yeah.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. And so are
Exactly.
other shows.
A
Yeah.
little bit of JJ in your refrigerator right now.
Which
it
is
out.
which is a
Open it
little
up.
disgusting.
A little disgusting.
It's still fresh.
Not moldy, still fresh.
Still fresh.
JJ May is always fresh.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, no expiration
Right,
date
like
on
Ghostbusters,
JJ.
exactly.
Nope.
So we're going to go into our first segment here. It's time for us to talk about the players that let us down on our teams this week. And it's time for Who Screwed Me. It's so light and airy, that little title card.
Lovely.
You gotta calm down. You gotta calm down going
it's
into
nice.
segments.
It's
so you
nice,
don't
you know.
I still
explode.
don't get that.
I don't either.
I think what it is you're about to get really upset. So Corey wants us to calm down before we get to it.
we should put some like Yanni music over it. Kind of
sure.
like, really.
Sure, or that like rainfall.
In
Yeah.
the
Ooh,
studio,
yeah.
we have incense
Rainfall.
going.
I'm going to kick it off with
Vincent.
Michael Vick. I love him. He's been great all year, but I started him. He got me 4 points.
Do you really love him?
I do.
Quick side question. Do
Yeah.
you really love the dog Bader?
I have a
Do you
whole
love him as a
different take
fantasy
on that.
player or just
I love him as a fantasy player. And I think there's another side to that story. I do think the guy did
The
wrong.
dog side?
But
whose side?
I think he
Adam
went to
hates
jail. I love dogs. I actually own a Staffordshire
And
Bull
old
Terrier.
people.
Oh, you
Hi,
hear
Newton.
that? He
Hi, Newton.
owns the dog.
I do.
I mean,
It's
that's
my
just
dog.
terrible.
Yeah.
Not even his companion. He owns the dog.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
Back to
what
Oh,
we're
dogs
doing
are
here.
great. I think everybody should own one.
Michael Vick let me down last week. I lost by 3/10 of a point. No, I won by 3/10 of a point. Oh, that's good news.
Well, congratulations.
But it was a little too tight.
Moving on.
It was a little close. Thank God I had Aaron Hernandez on Monday night.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yeah, thank
yeah.
God. Claire, who
Man.
screwed you?
No one screwed me this week.
According to Corey, by the way, let me just
Wishful
break-
thinking.
According to Corey in the chat room, who makes these graphics, it's a propeller, stupid.
Yeah.
Which has a lot to do with football.
Propeller is a type of screw who screwed me.
Oh, wow. Reach.
Way too smart for this.
Moving on. Sorry, Claire. Go ahead.
No, nobody screwed me. I would like to take special thanks to the Jets who put me over the edge with LT and Keller. So yeah,
Keller's the real deal. I thought he was just
that's
going to
why
be
I
a
got
one
my
or two.
new tattoo.
There we go.
Oh,
Guys,
Claire's
There
new
we go.
tattoo.
my new tattoo.
Claire's new tattoo.
So
Her all Jets team.
and
That's
yeah,
strange
it's gonna
thing
get
is
even
that's actually
better.
her head.
It's gonna get
It's
even
a little
better
weird.
with
Back with skull.
Santonio Holmes, who I plan to start this week. So.
Now we're talking.
He's coming back.
Are
We'll
you
cover
just
that
going to
later.
start the entire Jets team?
Maybe, yeah, all Jets all
All
the
right,
time.
well, let's not talk about who's going to screw you next week, Clara. Let's talk about who's going to screw you. Because I have a Santonio Holmes death wish as well. But for me, let's see. I don't know, JJ. I mean, once again, I mean, there's a laundry list of people who screwed me.
Hey,
Here's
let's
the people who
talk
screwed
about
me
who
last
didn't
week.
screw you.
Who didn't screw me? No, I would say the only people, the guy who screwed me last week, Liddell Betch, he kind of screwed me. Because I thought you were going to be the man. You weren't really the man. This young punk was running really hard and well, and he looked good, Chris Ivory. And so you screwed me. And who else? Brandon Jackson. All I wanted was a few yards, Brandon. You just couldn't really provide that.
Drop him!
So
Drop
I'm
him!
dropping Brandon Jackson. Because I've got a whole revamped team now. I mean, wait till you hear what I got going this week. Because I got Santonio.
a la Claire Coffee, you have a whole
A la Claire
team.
Coffee, although I didn't drop Wes Welker.
I picked him back up this
But I
week.
did.
How do you pick Wes Welker back up?
I didn't even pick up anybody in this league.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. In fact, I think Claire's lead.
He's going to be part of what takes over for Moss. It's not just going to be Brandon Tate. So he's going to be even better now. I think this guy's going to finish top 5 tight end. You heard it here first. And that's all I got to say about that.
Interesting. Just so you know, folks, we were going to talk about this later, but next Tuesday night, here, right down the street, we're going to have a big block party. It's Aaron Hernandez bobblehead night.
Yeah, we're going to have a
Come
parade.
here, you can Aaron Hernandez bobblehead.
Yeah.
We're going to have pictures of Aaron Hernandez wrapped around some IPA.
You
some
can
lame
take a
IPA
picture of
beer.
Adam hugging a picture of Aaron
Right, you get a
Hernandez.
picture of Aaron.
That's gonna be a
Adam
collector's item one
hugging
day.
a picture of Aaron Hernandez.
Yes, definitely.
It's great.
All right, next guy we're going to talk about is another tight end, Brandon Pettigrew.
Who not only, actually is the only guy who performed well on my team last week.
And he's
picked
been
him
good all
up.
year.
He's been great. I think he's, we told you about him. He continues to get targets. Shawn Hill seems to love this guy. He's a rookie. Still got some upside, hopefully.
He's a second-year guy, but this is his first. This is his first year. He's really starting a
last
lot.
year.
Yeah.
But he
emotionally,
looks good.
he behaves
Emotionally,
like a rookie.
Yes.
Yeah, he's still very young.
Exactly.
And in the larger picture, that's a good thing to think about in fantasy football. If you got a backup quarterback going in, they're going to go to their tight end or their running back a lot. That always happens with backups. It's an easier pass to make. If they're feeling rushed, those are their dump-offs. Brandon Pettigrew should be good as long as Shawn Hill's in there, and Stafford likes him too. So
Yeah.
I think he's a good play, especially this week. We'll talk about him later, though. And then number 3, big news this week. We're going to cover it more in news, but we told you last week. Now, I admit it, that he was going to the Packers. I don't know what the Packers are doing. I don't know why they don't want a running back. But he went to Seattle, and now Marshawn Lynch is the number 1 running back on a team with a good offensive line that is putting together some good scoring drives. He's going to be immediately startable. Look at that. He also works for Geico as a salesman.
He's also, let's face it, not very attractive. which is why he's in Seattle.
But I actually think that, yeah.
Where they just don't care.
It's cloudy all the time. You can dress a
For a
lot.
few years, I can say that. I've got some.
I don't think I think he makes himself that way, though. Have you seen?
Claire's league, they're going to redraft after week 8. They're just going to have a whole. Everybody gets tossed back in. But I got Harvin now, and we'll talk more about that later. Santonio Holmes coming back. Hopefully, they won't screw me next week, JJ.
Yeah. I don't know. Nobody on my team played well.
You lost.
I got kind of slaughtered.
Is that
Brandon,
one of your logos?
Yeah, yeah.
The guy with the headphones?
It's my logo is Donald Rumsfeld.
Is that Rumsfeld? I love it.
There are known knowns. There are known unknowns. There are unknown unknowns. My team, I don't know. Let's pick a guy. How about let's go with Ocho Cinco.
Yeah, he kind of disappeared on you, didn't he?
Yeah.
3 catches, 59 yards.
But let's also talk about who screwed me was the Chargers defense with 9 sacks, and guess who played them?
The guy played against you. Huh?
Yeah, I played them. Nobody did basically anything.
JJ, I'm going to have a recommendation for you. I think you should stop making it a prerequisite to have somebody on a small bike in a picture to be on your team. I really do.
Yeah, big guy on a small
bike. You know what? Would have played better than most of my players this week.
Yeah, which is not good.
I feel like nobody should be wearing Amon Green's number in Green Bay.
I agree. I love Amon Green.
Right?
He's a great running
he
back.
was kind of like, he was so the guy there for so long.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll tell you this, though. It's like Rumsfeld says, JJ. We are where we are.
Yeah. Well, listen, we don't always get it right on our teams, but we've gotten a lot of things right in our next segment where we tell you who's going to be the next big pickups. Actually, we're going to brag about the pickups we've already told you about. These are the guys we've gotten right for you. So let's go back into We Told You So. What is this one? Corey, you're letting us down. I'm expecting a different graphic every week.
I feel like that violence is a lot after our fluffy cloud propeller.
Yeah, it really is a big swing.
It's contrast.
It's like we need anger management. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'll kick off the first one because I love saying this guy's name.
Do it.
Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, my God.
Here's why I'm bringing him back to We Told You So. Yes, I talk about him a lot, but Moss is leaving, and Hernandez has been getting a lot of deep passes. He's been getting the 20 and 25-yard passes. Seen the grills he's always got?
Sure.
He always looks all thugged out, which is funny to me for a guy who's making $5 million a year playing football. Really? You're a thug?
Right.
Not really.
There he
Come
is.
on. Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that is not ratatouille stuck in his teeth. Those are his actual teeth.
Yeah. Mark's going to do that next week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, I tried it.
But it will be ratatouille.
In 95, but it will be ratatouille.
He's going to do it for Hanukkah this year with candles and just light them once every night.
Big Hanukkah for me this year.
Yeah, and so I get to eat it on my Justin Forsett recommendation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll go more into that in our next.
I get to eat it on my fantasy team where I have Justin.
Of course you do.
Of course I do.
He's been seen on a lot of small bicycles.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to our next segment. Big news this week in fantasy football news. Take it away, Mark.
Well, big news this week. The biggest news story, obviously. I was awoken by Colin Cowherd on my alarm clock to find out that Randy Moss had been traded to the Minnesota Vikings. Do we have any sound effects, explosions here? No. Okay, so big news. Lots of fantasy implications for Randy Moss going to the Vikings. JJ, what's the biggest one?
Well, I would just like to celebrate this decision as a Vikings fan, first of all.
That's right! Oh my God, JJ!
And as a Randy Moss owner in one of my leagues, second of all. But yeah, and I was actually driving home from work at 4 a.m. when the news broke. And it was rather, woke me up on the way home. But I think the big implication for Randy Moss is he pretty much has not been used in New England this year.
No.
They haven't targeted him. They haven't thrown the ball. He's caught some touchdowns because he's just such a great red zone target. But in Minnesota, he's going to get targeted. His receptions are going to go way up. He can still play ball.
Brett Favre's coveted him forever.
Yeah,
He wanted
Brett
him when he's
Favre's
back in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brett Favre was horribly upset with the Green Bay management when he got traded to the Raiders. And I